Well, as AI companies race to release more powerful AI models, it's still unclear where the White House stands on regulation. Last week, President Trump was expected on AI, but abruptly postponed the event. Meanwhile, concerns are growing over artificial intelligence data centers, cybersecurity, and job loss. So what happened and what now? Well, Politico has been following the Trump administration's struggle over how to regulate AI. A recent article examines the different factions trying to flex their influence in this. Politico White House reporter Diana Nerozzi co-wrote that article, and she joins us now. Diana, thank you so much for being with us. Let's start with what this AI executive order is. What did it cover, and why didn't President Trump sign it as scheduled?
Hi, Liz. Well, the president was supposed to sign that document last week on Thursday. And at the last second, David Sachs called him and told him, don't sign that paper. And the paper was already prepared. The executive order was supposed to be on his desk that day, and it was the product of months of negotiations between different actors in the White House. But Sachs called the president and told him that it would be a bad idea to put it forward. And Politico did get a look at this document. Came to fruition, and it was a voluntary method that technology companies would present their new AI technology to federal agencies and the White House before it rolled onto the market for national security sweeps and just a generalized overlook. Again, it said it would be voluntary and not mandatory, but Sachs still had concerns that it could potentially become mandatory one day.
Your article talks about these different factions vying to steer the administration's AI policy. What are these different groups, and what does this tell us about the administration's stance on AI?
Well, really, it's a spectrum. On one hand, on one side, there's David Sachs, who really represents the view that there should be not a lot of regulations on AI from the government, that it could stand in the way of innovation. And in the middle, there's people like Scott Bessent and Susie Wiles, who are really leading the cabinet in trying to figure out this executive order and where to go next. And on the other side, the people that are most concerned about AI are people like Pete Hegseth and Emil Michael, both at the Pentagon, who share national security concerns and potentially fear that it could fall into the wrong hands, like countries like China.
So it sounds like everything's on hold. I mean, what happens next? Where do things stand now?
Well, according to the officials that we spoke to in the article, that hopefully this negotiation is still ongoing, and Sachs's phone call to the president didn't kill the entire process. There are people in the White House who still do want regulations that are in the middle, or at least put a little bit of an overlook on this technology while not limiting the innovation. And Scott Bessent said this week that it's still a negotiation, so we might see an executive order down the road in the meantime.
Diana Nerozzi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.